Today, we are diving into a massive shift in how software gets made. This is a change so deep that some are calling it a renaissance for the entire field of engineering. We're going to walk through the big ideas from Dr. Partha Majumdar's book and explore how generative AI is really reshaping the entire software development lifecycle, from that very first line of code all the way to final deployment. This one sentence right here, it basically captures the entire revolution we're talking about. For decades, programming has been about giving these super explicit line-by-line commands to a machine, right? But now it's becoming a dialogue. It's a conversation between what you intend to do and the machine's intelligence. The act of creating software is changing from a monologue into a true partnership. And this is the core principle that's going to guide our entire discussion. A lot of people worry about being replaced, but that's really a misunderstanding of what this tech is all about. The goal isn't to take the engineer out of the picture, not at all. It's to make them way more powerful, to act as a force multiplier that frees up their brain power for the high-level, creative work that really drives innovation. So think of this as our roadmap for this explainer. We're going on a journey through the entire software development lifecycle, the SDLC, from start to finish. And what's really cool is you can see how the AI's role evolves. It starts out as your pair programmer, then it becomes a strategic collaborator, then it turns into this tireless QA partner, and finally, it's the very engine that delivers your software in DevOps. The benefits here aren't just added on top of each other, they multiply.
All right, let's start at the very beginning. The actual act of writing code. For a lot of us, this is the most immediate, the most tangible place where this new human-AI partnership is really born. This slide just lays it out so perfectly. Before, so much of a developer's day was just lost on writing the same repetitive boilerplate code over and over. And, just getting the syntax exactly right. But with an AI partner, you just state what you want to do, your intent, and it handles the generation. This lets you, the engineer, lift your focus from all the tiny details to the big picture, the system's architecture and the core logic that makes it all work. And in the real world, this means AI assistants like GitHub Copilot can just instantly generate functions and classes for you. They can suggest ways to refactor your code to make it easier to maintain down the line. They can even write entire unit tests. But look at that last step, review. The human engineer is still the essential quality gatekeeper. The AI suggestion is a starting point, a hypothesis, not the final product. Your expertise is what validates it, makes sure it's correct, and critically checks it for security. So the really crucial thing here is the why. By delegating the how, all the boilerplate and syntax, to an AI collaborator, engineers get to free up their most valuable resource, their attention. This cognitive bandwidth can now be invested in what truly matters, like architectural integrity, the user experience, and solving those really tricky strategic problems. Your value is no longer measured in how many lines of code you can type, but in the depth of your thinking. Okay, so we've laid the foundation with AI-assisted coding. Now let's zoom out a bit. We're moving beyond just individual lines of code and looking at the broader workflow, the architecture of flow. And this is where AI's role gets way more strategic. This is all about speeding up that journey from a high-level idea to a functional blueprint. Instead of manually translating business needs into technical structures, you can just feed a plain text requirement to an AI and get a structured code outline or even a database schema back in seconds. And that tedious process of building out API scaffolding, well, now you can generate those endpoints almost instantly. Now, here's a question that I think every developer out there knows the pain of. Why is it that the documentation is always out of sync with the actual code? It's usually the first thing to get ignored when deadlines get tight, and that creates massive headaches down the road for anyone trying to maintain the project. And here is the solution. By integrating generative AI into your automated build and deployment pipelines, what we call CI/CD, we can create what the book calls a living blueprint. Just imagine a workflow where every single time code is changed, an AI scans the update, automatically regenerates the relevant documentation, and then submits it for review. This turns documentation from this nagging, reactive chore into a proactive, automated process. All right, so we've designed our workflow, but how do we make sure it's resilient? Well, this brings us to our third stage, where AI completely transforms testing and quality assurance from a manual chore into a proactive discipline. The fundamental shift here is moving from reaction to prediction. It's the difference between finding bugs after they've already been introduced and anticipating and preventing them from ever happening in the first place. Manually writing tests for every possible edge case is a monumental task, right? But with AI, you can generate entire test suites in minutes and get way broader coverage. So how does this actually work? Well, AI can automatically generate test cases just from reading your code, or even from plain text requirements. And when a bug does sneak through, it can perform an intelligent root cause analysis, pulling data from all over the place to pinpoint the exact cause. It doesn't stop there either. It can even suggest code fixes. And beyond just making sure things work, it helps optimize for performance and spot security vulnerabilities before they ever reach production. This quote just nails the essence of this whole stage. It's not just about making testing faster, it's about making it smarter. By analyzing historical data on your code's complexity and past defects, AI can literally build a predictive risk map, forecasting where failures are most likely to pop up next. And that lets your team focus their resources right where they're needed most. Okay, we've written resilient code, we've built an intelligent workflow. Now for the final stage, actually getting it to our users. This is where AI becomes the intelligent delivery engine, orchestrating the entire end-to-end process. Let's look at a real-world case study from the book, because this is where it gets really interesting. A global e-commerce company was just plagued by deployment delays and configuration errors. By putting an AI-based infrastructure assistant into place, they saw these dramatic improvements across the board in speed, reliability, and even their costs. First, just look at reliability. An 87% drop in configuration errors. I mean, think about what that actually means. Fewer outages, less time spent firefighting, and just more stable systems. This happened because the AI could translate a human's intent into flawless configuration code for tools like Terraform and Ansible, basically wiping out all those little human errors that cause big problems. And the impact on speed was just as staggering. A process that used to take up to 12 hours, that's a full day and a half of work, was cut down to under 40 minutes. This is the power you get when you move from manual configuration to an intelligent, automated workflow. As their DevOps lead put it, AI didn't replace our engineers, it gave them back their time. So after our whole journey through the entire SDLC, we arrive at the conclusion. And it's not really about the technology itself, but about what it creates, the rise of the amplified engineer. This slide right here perfectly captures the evolution of the engineer's role. We're moving from being human in the loop, where we're responsible for every single line of code, to being human on the loop. In this new model, the engineer's job is to define the mission, to set the strategy, and to oversee the outcome, while the AI handles a lot of the tactical, in-the-weeds execution. And this chart really visualizes what that new focus looks like. You see that slice for manual coding? It becomes the smallest piece of the pie. The majority of an amplified engineer's time and mental energy gets reallocated to much higher value activities. High-level strategy and architecture, creative problem solving, and the crucial work of collaborating with and overseeing these AI systems. This brings us to the most crucial point, really the key takeaway of this entire explainer. The threat isn't the technology itself. The competitive landscape is being completely redrawn, and the advantage goes to those who master this new way of working, this human-machine collaboration. The skills we've talked about today are your strategic advantage in this new era. So we'll end on this question. This whole journey from AI-assisted coding to a fully intelligent software lifecycle, it's a path to more productive, more creative, and more impactful work. It's all about blending human creativity with machine intelligence. So the only question left to ask is, are you ready to build that future?